calculating the odds of winning in Nen combat just shows how you're missing the point. You never know what your adversary's ability is, but I have yet to meet anyone with an ability more flexible than my Deep Purple. Hello and welcome to Hunter x Hunter 101, the series that breaks down everyone and everything in the Hunter x Hunter world. And today we are going to be investigating one of the most experienced modern day hunters in the series, Morel Mackernasey. Morel Mackernasey is a single-star sea hunter who was first introduced during the Chimera Ant arc as part of the extermination team. Morel is best characterized by his exceedingly calm and patient nature, as well as his strong leadership skills and tactical genius within the realm of combat. But despite this outward characterization, Morel is also highly emotional and possesses a solid sense of compassion, although he keeps that side of him very much in check, making Morel a well-balanced individual within this incredibly insane world. As a sea hunter, Morel's focus lies in the deep depths of the world, seeking out general treasure or rare animals. And while we don't know the specifics of his accomplishments in this field, he has been awarded a single star as a result of his actions as a hunter. Furthermore, Morel is renowned enough to have taken on two students, being Knucklebine and Shoot McMahon, both of whom are highly accomplished hunters in their own right. And furthermore, Morel was one of only two hunters trusted enough by Chairman Netero to accompany him into the Neo-Green Life Autonomous Region to carry out the extermination of the Chimera Ants. And just briefly on hunter politics, in terms of the association, Morel was a stout supporter of Netero's camp, holding a profound level of respect for him. And in contrast, Morel despises the power-hungry faction led by Pariston Hill, seeing him as a dishonorable schemer who is willing to sacrifice anyone and anything to achieve whatever it is that he desires. Something that certainly does not agree with Morel's more compassionate nature. With that said, the Morel that we would come to know was not the one that the audience was first introduced to, as upon entering NGL, Morel would come into contact with Golden Killua, which would show us a surprisingly arrogant side to the hunter, who proceeded to taunt Killua and completely dismiss his concerns regarding the threat that they were about to face. However, in this moment, Morel did provide his own personal philosophy regarding Nen combat, which boils down to the fact that you can never know what your opponent's ability is, and that you must always fight like you are 100% certain you can win. And that sense of confidence most certainly carried over into the ensuing battles that we were treated to, featuring Morel and his exceptional Nen abilities. In terms of that, Morel is a manipulator with a proficiency in the further areas of enhancement, emission, and transmutation, the latter of which being very impressive, as it is the area in which a manipulator possesses the lowest natural affinity for. However, in order to enact his abilities, Morel requires the catalyst of a giant tobacco pipe, and through this medium, Morel is able to initiate a Hatsu known as Deep Purple, which requires Morel to transmute his aura into smoke and go on to manipulate that smoke in any way he deems necessary. And he can, for all intents and purposes, essentially create anything, such as ropes, grass, or even adorable little bunnies. But he is of course also capable of crafting much more complex beings, one example of which are the Smoke Troopers. With the addition of emission, Morel is able to part with a core of aura which contains manipulation commands. Simple commands that is, like whether or not to attack, defend, or retreat when encountering an enemy. And very interestingly, Smoke Troopers with this emitter core are actually indistinguishable from regular humans via the use of N, making them very versatile, especially since they are capable of mimicking humans aesthetically as well. All in all, Morel is capable of crafting and controlling 216 Smoke Troopers at any given time. However, at that maximum number, they are very limited in terms of commands. So in the case of requiring something with a bit more complexity, Morel can compress this number of troopers down to 50, sacrificing quantity for some of that good old quality. However, something to be very wary of is the fact that invoking Deep Purple costs aura that Morel loses access to until his creations are dispelled, which can leave him individually quite vulnerable. However, Morel does possess at least one other Hatsu in which to engage with, known as Smoky Jail, in which he encases himself and an opponent with a seemingly impenetrable prison of smoke, strong enough that even a Chimera Ant Royal Guard would not be able to penetrate it. However, due to the fact that it is smoke, it does allow particle-sized entities to pass through it, which will become important in a bit. But in regards to aura itself, unlike many characters in the series, we actually have a fairly accurate measure of how much Morel is able to output, which according to his disciple Knuckle, lands at somewhere around 70,000 aura units. And for some comparison, Knuckle also managed to measure Gon's output, which did not even amount to a third of Morel's, sitting at 21,500 units. In fact, Knuckle has claimed that Morel possesses the most abundant aura pool that he has ever seen. But this was of course prior to engaging in combat with the Chimera Ant Royal Guards, and it's also highly unlikely that Knuckle would have had the opportunity to succinctly measure many of the world's most powerful hunters, so take that as you will. Now, having briefly brought up Gon again, it must be said that despite his relative inexperience, Morel was always confident that Gon would excel in true combat and become a great asset to the extermination team, whereas his disciples on the other hand had their extreme doubts. As a result, Morel pretended to express his verbal doubts and challenged Gon to hit him with everything he's got to earn his place on the extermination team, to which Gon wasted no time whatsoever, summoning up a Jajunken, the sheer power of which, as well as the bloodlust emanating from Gon, sent Morel into a cold sweat. But before the attack could strike Morel, Gon was stopped by Killua. However, by this time, Morel had completed his task, as the other hunters present were able to witness Gon's determination firsthand. Now, as a member of the extermination team, Morel faced a wide array of challenges over the course of the Chimera Ant arc, quite notably engaging in combat with Cheetu, which perfectly displayed Morel's aforementioned philosophy of Nen combat, as his confidence ranged throughout the fight, or I guess more accurately should have been called a test of wills, perhaps even patience. This is because Morel was caught in a Hatsu known as Tag, whereby Cheetu conjured an artificial Nen space where both he and Morel would be stuck for 8 hours, with the only way to exit earlier being Morel meeting the condition of touching Cheetu, something of an impossibility considering his speed. So in response, Morel just sort of laid down and pretended to go to sleep, starting a series of events that would see Morel replacing himself with a Smoky clone, eventually allowing him to give Cheetu a gentle tap on the shoulder and thus winning the game. Morel would also come face to face with Leol, who had acquired a Nen ability that allowed him to conjure and manipulate vast amounts of water. However, being a sea hunter, Morel was perfectly equipped to deal with this, using his exceptional lung capacity to submerge himself and create a hose out of smoke, proceeding to exhale and fill the surface of the closed-off fighting arena with carbon dioxide, which eventually poisoned and killed Leol. To top it all off, during the palace invasion, Morel was assigned to deal with the royal guard Shiapuf, whom he successfully encased in a Smoky Jail. However, Shiapuf then performed a gambit by enveloping himself in a cocoon and proceeding to scatter himself into the form of trillions of microscopic beings, and slipped through the Smoky Jail bit by bit. And on this occasion, Morel was outwitted, choosing to deactivate Smoky Jail only to be ambushed and have his trademark pipe stolen away from him, leaving him unable to engage in his Hatsu any further. And without the ability to create new smoke troopers, Morel was limited to the 89 remaining constructs that he had previously crafted, as he entered into a battle against another royal guard by the name of Yuppie, who went on to easily dispatch the smoke creations and heavily wounded Morel. Although Morel would be saved by his disciple Knuckle, who struck a deal with Yuppie to save him, but in the process remove any chance the extermination team had of defeating Yuppie. Morel, who was prepared to die to ensure the success of the mission, was then taken away by Nov, but not before chastising his disciple and thus ending his involvement in the palace invasion. After the death of the Ant King, Morel was the one who made the mission report directly to Beans, and he then turned his focus to helping Gon recover. As over the course of the arc, Morel's initial arrogance towards Gon and Killua had long since subsided and morphed into a great level of respect for their pure determination as hunters. Due to his valor in the extermination mission, it has also been said that Morel may have been awarded with a triple-star license, and he was even thrown in as a candidate to become the 13th chairman of the Hunter Association. However, during the election, Morel's candidacy never built any particular momentum, and it is later confirmed that Morel was not in any way interested in the idea of becoming the next chairman. However, his candidacy persisted due to the nomination process, which does not require the consent of the hunter in question to be put forward. In fact, during the election process, Morel was in hospital recovering from his encounter with the Chimera Ants and focusing all of his efforts on facilitating Gon's recovery. Despite this, Morel's name made it all the way to the 5th round of voting. However, it had been pushed off the shortlist of candidates by the 6th round. But Morel's efforts would lead to great success, as eventually Killua was able to reach Gon with Alaka and use their incredible power to heal him. Quite notably, it should be said that Morel was completely shocked by the power he felt at this time, and considering that he had very recently had his fill of feeling tremendous aura at the hands of the Chimera Ants, this would not have been an easy feat to achieve. But hey, that's the power of the Dark Continent for you. And speaking of most recently, due to his experience as a sea hunter, Morel has taken up the role of navigator for the expedition to the Dark Continent, which I'm sure we'll get to, one day. Some more fun facts about Morel. Despite having developed a smoking-based Hatsu, Morel is more than likely not an actual smoker himself, as he has never been seen engaging in the act of smoking that wasn't for the process of turning his aura into smoke. According to the Hunter x Hunter manual, Morel scores an amazing 4 out of 5 in the areas of mind, body, skill, nen, and intelligence. In fact, the only sector in which he did not achieve this was ingenuity, in which he only scored a 3 out of 5, which I would personally argue with, given that Morel is one of the most creative and versatile individuals that we have ever seen in Hunter x Hunter. But what can you do? Due to his habit of always wearing sunglasses, even at night, Morel's eyes have never been seen in the series, although it is interesting to note that he entered NGL with the sunglasses, given that they classify as a contraband substance under the rules of the nation. Although, as some of you suggested in my video about Nov, this could have been due to Morel placing them in Nov's hide and seek ability for the duration of time it took them to cross the border. Morel's full name is an anagram-like reference. I say anagram-like because it isn't perfect, but it is a reference to a Japanese author by the name of Ramo Nakajima, who is a famed cult novel author known for living a particularly wild life, incorporating staggering amounts of drugs and alcohol, but more importantly, he also often wore sunglasses. The references don't stop there though, as Morel's Deep Purple Hatsu has a wealth of musical nods within it, the first of which being that it was named after the English rock band Deep Purple. Furthermore, the kanji for the technique goes on to reference the song Purple Haze by Jimi Hendrix, and Smoky Jail's alternate name, Jailhouse Rock, is of course a reference to Elvis Presley's song of the same name. And finally, a truly useless fact. In the manga, after having been saved from Yuppie by Knuckle, Morel proceeds to flip him off. But that pretty much does it for Morel. If you enjoyed this video and the content this channel produces in general, then please do consider donating to the New World Review Patreon, because the support of all you amazing people is what continues to make this channel possible. And if Patreon isn't quite your style, then please do leave this video a like, share, or subscribe, because it also helps support this channel an incredible amount. And if you'd like to join the fun at any time, then please do head over to my Discord server, where a wide array of shenaniganry takes place on a daily basis. And finally, please do comment with who, what, or where you'd like to see featured in the next Hunter x Hunter 101.